Can you walk us through your journey from being a student at Jesus and Mary College and becoming an associate partner at such a prestigious firm, Sai Krishna and Associates?
I was not the best student growing up. I wanted to be a professor like you.
What drew you to take disputes that were arising from more of digital ecosystem rather than regular litigation mainstream?
Because technology is developing, laws are going to develop around it.
So good internship experience can also in some way shape your future.
What sets you apart is actual practical procedural knowledge.
Hi, I, Vaishnavi Srivastava, Assistant Professor at DME Law School, welcome you all to yet another episode of Prime Hour with our legal sharks. Today, we have with us Ms. Snehima Jauhari, Associate Partner at Sai Krishna and Associates. Her experience lies at the intersection of litigation, media, IP and technology laws. In today's date, where legal profession is undergoing a massive transformation through AI, her experience becomes more valuable because she handles today's contemporary legal issues. Thus, we will not only be discussing the ever-evolving landscape of litigation and AI, but also be benefiting from her experience, insights, and knowledge being a modern-day litigator. We are honored to have you with us today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for having me again. And it's a privilege to be thought of as the many kind adjectives that have been used for me. Thank you so much.
So, Snehima, before we dive into the discussion about AI and litigation, can you walk us through your journey from being a student at Jesus and Mary College and becoming an associate partner at such a prestigious firm, Sai Krishna and Associates?
Frankly, and at the outset, I must disclaim, I'm going to be very candid. I was not the best student growing up, except when it counted, which were your board exams. I always had I was always an avid reader. Fiction till date remains a passion of mine. Writing remains a passion of mine. I am from a non-litigation or a non-lawyer background. I'm a first-generation lawyer. So for me to find myself as an advocate today is just about as surprising as it gets. I wanted to be a professor like you. I wanted to teach literature, and which is why my bachelor's degree is in literature. And Jesus and Mary College was a great experience in that it taught me discipline first and foremost. It's known for its exemplary alumni and its teachers. The course itself taught me to appreciate the written word, honestly. And as a part and parcel of curriculum, it ingrained in me the skill of being able to read something with the intention of interpreting it. Reading for the sake of reading is something we all do as a hobby, which is great, which must be inculcated. But reading with the intention of decoding what the writer means is a very real life skill that helps in advocacy as well.
Right.
So love for the written word, a particular skill set, and then thereafter, which is most important, to opine on something. That is something which my time at Jesus and Mary taught me. And I was told that I was, fairly decent at talking to people, and as is, very trite that, oh, you can put your point across, you can argue well, you must consider law. So that is how it happened that I chanced upon Amity. I did not give any of the entrance exams like I'm sure many of the students here did. But yeah, I got into Amity and then I've never looked back.
I think you have major highlights in your whole of your journey, and there's a lot to learn from the same. So before moving on to the next question, we already know that you have your practice which lies at the intersection of litigation, media, intellectual property as well as technology, which is very new in today's age. So, can we know about what drew you to take disputes that were arising from more of digital ecosystem rather than regular litigation mainstream?
Right. So, while in my duration as a student, I interned with various seniors in chambers, and full of idealism, I also wanted to perhaps pursue criminal law. However, my first internship at Sai Krishna and Associates, I ended up, like I said, engaging with the written word so much, and copyright law is something which really intrigued me. In that it's extremely nuanced. The application of mind to the statute is not just not that any legal, not that any form of law or any form of statute is rote or is repetitive, but copyright law definitely inspired me. But to address your question directly, I suppose the fact that there was so much happening some 10 years ago. There was so much development, there was so much technology that was just coming up. I was perhaps the last generation, in school and college, which was still using internet as a secondary source or a tool to, give in my projects and stuff. We used to read books and encyclopedias and stuff, and so that shift, that complete shift into the digital era happened real time in front of me. And in that I found, this little gap, and I was like, because technology is developing, laws are going to develop around it. So I perhaps do not have to play catch up with the law, because it's going to be happening alongside, which is exactly what happened. So, for instance, the IT Act is as recent as 2000,
Yes,
right?
true.
And all the major changes that have taken place to the IT Act have happened now. Same goes with the Copyright Act, with the amendments that have happened. And now with AI being what it is, presenting the real life issue that it is, the government has undertaken to amend all these acts to incorporate certain safeguards to use AI. So my decision to choose litigation or matters specific to the digital realm was sort of decided for me, because everything was happening in real time around me, and it just made sense to keep abreast with the occurrences around. That's how.
So, ma'am, what I can draw from your answer is that you interned at Sai Krishna initially,
Yes.
which gave you an edge to develop that interest. So, good internship experience can also, in some way, shape your future choices, career choices.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is something that I must emphasize for young minds here, that while it is extremely impressive to have a Sai Krishna and Associates
Right.
brand on your CV, because it means a stellar environment. It means opportunities to actually learn at the cutting edge of litigation, of thought leadership.
Yes.
Like we are coming up with matters and judgments, and we are arguing cases which are absolutely at the helm of judicial developments. We are, in a sense, contributing to the judicial system being more efficient, because this is the first time we are all faced with things like AI. This is the first time we are faced with things like data breach to a level where it has real life impact on an individual and a company and an MNC and all around, right? So at the time when I interned at Sai Krishna and Associates, I did not know what I was getting myself into. Also, I did not intern with the litigation team at the get-go. I was part of the trademark prosecution team. And I thought that that is where my career was heading. However, working for those 2-3 months, I realized that litigation piques my interest. Having said that, Sai Krishna was not my only internship. I have interned with lawyers at the Supreme Court, and not necessarily your hotshot lawyers, but lawyers with a lot of bulk work. Okay, and this is imperative for any young intern. You need to have real life experience running around in courts, understanding files. reading perhaps
Yes.
files, doing research. Research is grunt work, but it is essential to any lawyer, right? And yeah, so perhaps I was fortunate enough to not necessarily chase after names, but also get a wider perspective on how the litigation sphere works. It was not about sitting behind a laptop and for hours on end, punching in, punching out, and calling it an internship. For me personally, that's how real life. And when I entered into litigation, and mind you, internships don't prepare you for a job. They just don't. Okay. At best, you can understand how to navigate yourself,
Yes.
but internships will not prepare you for real life court practice. I remember my first month at, sorry, this is digressing a little bit, but my first month as an associate at Sai Krishna, I routinely used to work closely with the clerks. And I used to be, at that time there were physical filings and hundreds and thousands of pages worth of filings used to get cleared, and extremely time bound, has to be before 12 p.m. otherwise matter doesn't get listed the next day. So those nitty-gritties, standing with the clerk, standing in the queues, figuring out how to get objections cleared at a trademark, at a high court registry, getting scolded from a senior if it's not happening, just being on the job. If opportunities like that present themselves to interns, grab them with both hands. You already have an edge higher than your peers, because today the same material is available to everyone at the same time, right? There is no, like I was discussing earlier with ma'am, that there is really nothing new that you can know as compared to your peers, because the same AI is available to everyone, the same answer is available to everyone. There is no such thing as a wrong answer. What sets you apart is actual practical procedural knowledge, right? And procedural knowledge you can only gain if you are willing to do the grunt work of, spending time with your files, spending time with your clerks, spending time researching. So this part I feel must be emphasized. This is something I picked up in my internships across the board.
That's very valuable information. I'm sure it will benefit a lot of law students putting experiential learning into practice.
Yes.
So AI is everywhere, ma'am. In today's date, you find AI everywhere, and I'm sure you hear this word every day from somebody or the other. Can you tell us ways how AI has changed the ways the cases are researched, how they are prepared, and how they are finally argued in the courts?
So again, departure from how things used to be done. This is evident in the past 2 years. The sort of type of chat GPTs and Claudes and various AI models that have come to being, they have definitely made research a lot more accessible and easier. Whether or not it has made it effective is not something that I can readily comment on with a positive mindset, because as any avid user of AI will confirm, there are enough and more hallucinations that get created in your AI responses, right? So unless and until a diligent mind is absorbing that information and checking it for context, checking it for errors and errata, checking it against actual judgments and research, I don't think that research work particularly can be completely outsourced to AI. In fact, just day before, our Honorable Chief Justice has commented in a petition that was drafted using an AI model, AI tool, and very sternly he's observed that lawyers are taking to use of AI for citations which are fake. They're fake citations. And another thing, whatever it is that you draft using AI, please don't think that somebody with a trained eye will not be able to see. There are tells in an AI output which are just glaring, right? So again, the judges are not receiving it particularly well. So long as you are using it to assist you and not replace you, I think it's beneficial. Arguments, like, because you offer 3 heads: research, drafting, and arguments, right? So research and drafting, I've told you, you can, the tool can assist you.
Yes.
Arguments are something which are, to my limited understanding, quintessentially human. Because when you're standing before a judge or you're standing before any authority and you are trying to make a compelling case, you're trying to convince somebody, essentially, a lot more comes into play than just what you have read and what you have written.
Right.
What comes into play is your understanding of the particular judge, what you have understood as your style of arguing, what you have perhaps read somewhere in a context of something which an AI ready material is not going to be able to provide. For instance, there's a matter which is right now sub judice, so I can't disclose,
Yes, please.
but it is to do with a copyright issue concerning a very renowned music composer. And the said person was alleged to have committed copyright infringement, in that he was alleged to have taken certain rags, and the rags said to be composed by another set of very renowned composers, heritage and traditional rags. Now, you can read a statute, and you can feed what you want as an answer, as a prompt to an AI, and they'll give you a ready answer. However, there was a member in the team who, in addition to being a lawyer, was a trained Indian classical singer. So his experience as a trained classical singer brought something to the table which helped the judge understand that very, very technical nuance, which made or break the case. And this is something only a person with actual experience is going to be able to bring to the table. So arguments, I suppose, while they can again be supported with AI tools, they can never be supplanted. It's human engagement between lawyer and judge.
Right.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, you have covered, I think, both the merits and demerits at the same time, which is very insightful of you. So, ma'am, if specifically I want to ask from you that the lawyers in today's date, they have to be cautious about certain AI tools.
Yes.
So, specifically, have you worked with certain AI tools? And if yes, then you have come across something that you can share from your own experience where they have to be cautious that, okay, some prompt that you've given, like you cited, the citations that are coming for the cases are wrong.
Yes.
So how will these lawyers, so basically the verification part, how will we cope up with the verifying of the information that the AI is generating?
So to answer this question, again, absolute candor. I also recently had a run-in with AI in a manner which was unfortunate, because I received a particular draft, and it was the end of a very long day at work, and I perhaps just gave it a cursory reading, and I pushed it forward to wherever it was supposed to go. And then all hell broke loose, because I did not apply my mind to it, and the language, as I said, was
Yes.
manifest. It was not that it was incorrect. It was just that there were glaring gaps that can only be filled by a person who works on the matter, right? To the person reading it on first blush, they'll just say that, okay, the mind has not been applied, a tool has been used, and I've been given shoddy work. So if at this age and stage, if I can still commit this mistake, I must urge students to please learn from example.
Yes, from that.
Okay. But some of the most obvious things, for instance, were that, so like I said, I work for publishers and broadcasters and media houses, right? So one set of matters that we get are to prevent rogue websites from disseminating movies and shows and material such as that. And we all know how pirated websites keep mushrooming every couple of seconds, if not sooner. So one such very obvious issue that we had is that somebody asked, I think it was one of these AI tools, and they asked, so where can I watch movies pirated? Okay.
Okay.
So the response came that you know, this is illegal and we are not going to be able to provide lists of such and such pirated websites. The same prompt was then twisted and said, okay, so what are these pirated websites I should steer clear from, right? And there it was, all the available pirated websites. So this is just a very, you know, jovial example of how AI can be manipulated to serve your interests and lead to potential problems. But yeah, this is my experience with AI has not been unfortunate only because before feeding anything to a tool, do your reading, understand your brief, try to the best of your abilities to just, you know, rely on your own knowledge to see कि भाई इसमें कौन सा law apply हो सकता है, what statute is applicable, what, just think from a layman's perspective, if this was me, what would be the things that I would be aggrieved by, and largely you will understand where the grievance is emanating from. Then perhaps, you know, take assistance of tools to understand, okay, what specific laws are covered by which statute. Read those statutes, read those bare acts, okay, read those sections. After that, once you've got everything in mind here, once you've jotted down your points, then get creative with your prompts to tell that tool to devise exactly what it is that you want. So if there is something which is erroneous, even by like a alphabet, you should be able to catch it.
Right.
It's supposed to cut your work, or it's supposed to reduce your time spent on something. It is not supposed to reduce your acumen spent on something.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, I totally second your opinion on the same. And moving on to the next question, ma'am. Ma'am, the law students, the aspiring law students, whether they are the 5-year integrated programs or the 3-year, like right now the students who are being enrolled, they have a very easy access to AI. And a lot of our students are also using AI. So what advice do you hold for them and how they should be using AI throughout their journey, law journey, and what cautions you have already mentioned about, but one advice that you will give them for their law preparation that they should keep in mind while using AI?
Well, honestly, using AI should be done in a meaningful manner, in that first and foremost ensure that you use it as a tool and you are its master. It is not supposed to, at any point, the basic that I tend to follow is that you should be able to defend any opinion that is going from you, be it in a courtroom, be it to a client, be it to a senior, be it to your peers. Anything that comes from you, you should be able to defend it with something that you have either read or you can cite and is credible. If that baseline is maintained, everything else is like I said, something which is supposed to work for you. The shift from, you know, writing your pleadings to typing your pleadings to now orally dictating your pleadings, all of that has happened in order to conserve human effort.
Right.
And that is something which I feel students and people who are in the profession should keep in mind, that using AI can be such a boon, honestly. It takes away so much of the pains of drafting a client update or an email, and like, I shouldn't be saying this, but it's true. And I personally take offense to it because, like, I like to believe I'm a writer of law as well. So, but having said that, like, when you're meeting deadlines and you want to cut your work short, you should be able to engage with AI the way you need. For that matter, while they are in college, students should perhaps try to take up courses to understand, not just understand, but to cultivate it as a skill set to engage with AI. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. Like, this 4-day summit is proof enough for it, you know.
True, yes, ma'am.
So yeah, like, take courses to engage with AI better, by all means.
Thank you, ma'am, for clearing this air on this issue. I'm sure the students will take this advice and be future ready for this AI change that is happening everywhere. So, ma'am, my question is in respect of the justice delivery. So, do you think that AI will make justice delivery more accessible, or in a way it has complicated the same?
Justice delivery, how would you mean? Because like
From
yeah.
the point of view that is it aiding the judges' judgments, or for that matter, when the advocates are acting as an facilitators, at the end of the day, the goal is to ensure that the justice is there. So, is AI playing a more proactive role, or it is coming in a negative way?
For the time being, I think AI is causing a lot more problems
Right.
to the judicial system than it is aiding it. I mean, just the glut of cases we have in the Delhi High Court right now, pertaining to personality rights and deep fakes and data breaches and what have you. And at the core of it is all errant use of AI. And so no, I think right, at least for the time being, I don't think judicial bodies are inclined to rely too heavily on AI tools or AI output. But that is my perspective, because I have, or maybe I'm just reading the cynical part of things, where judges have repeatedly expressed concern, the most recent being day before yesterday, like I told you. But no, there's been in fact, the concern has gone above and beyond just judicial cases. It has now gone to a policy level,
Right.
which is that like I was talking about the Information Technology
Right.
Act and the Intermediary Digital Media Ethics Guidelines. They have been notified as recently as February 15th or 16th. And yes, there is a specific inclusion of what is understood to be synthetically generated content,
Right.
and how your meta platforms and your social media, substantial social media platforms are requiring users to declare that some content is in fact created by using AI tools. And then not the liability, but the responsibility is on these said media platforms, social media platforms, to put a disclaimer on such content, like a picture or a video or a snippet, to say that no, this is synthetically generated content. And the failure to do so is now fastening liability on these platforms, which have always been understood to be intermediaries and largely free of liability, which we call in the industry as safe harbor. So yes, like I think right now the mind frame is more circumspect than it is positive. It is till as such time certain chinks are not removed from the technology itself, I don't think decisions can be passed using AI.
So, ma'am, the last question that I'll be asking you, ma'am, do you think that there is an immediate need for legal response regarding the regulation of AI? So, at this moment, what is your opinion? Do we lack a dedicated law? And if yes, then how can we incorporate it to regulate AI?
So, to couch it in a negative way that we are lacking a system is perhaps rather ungenerous of us, because like I said, technology is something which outruns all of us at any given point. So yes, we are playing catch up, but the extant law, it's not as though the extant laws are not that they are not enough, but they do require an overhaul. They do require amendments. And just tying it with your previous question, certain matters and certain cases, particularly under the Motor Vehicles Act, right? Certain fines and certain types of breaches that happen there. There are a lot of such bulk matters that get disposed of using AI tools nowadays, because it is essentially computation of a fine that has to be provided, and like so these kind of litigations can perhaps be reduced or can be disposed of quicker. And yes, like I said, so the laws, particularly to do with AI, yes, there is definitely a requirement, but that requirement is already being worked on. And again, why I said the AI summit is because India right now, with all its governmental policies, is all about Viksit Bharat. It is all about digitization. So it is not as though we are not working towards the need of the hour. But yeah, like I think we are largely good.
So thank you so much, Snehima. It was an honor to have you with us and to share your insights and knowledge. I'm sure it's gonna benefit a lot of people.
Thank you, ma'am.
So with this, we come to the conclusion of this episode of Prime Hour with Legal Sharks. I'm sure her experience will benefit many of them, especially the aspiring law students, to understand the merits and demerits of AI and to make a valuable contribution to this particular field. Until we meet next time, thank you all so much.